as far as the camera.
Mhm.
So if you could just like stay within, yeah,
Here is okay? Or?
between the screen,
Okay.
within the screen, and then
Okay.
okay, we're good to go.
So, okay, good afternoon, everyone. As already introduced, but yes, I'm Andres. I come from Bogota, Colombia. I have been working on this topic since I was also studying my bachelor's. So almost 10 years doing volunteering jobs and some consultancy experience and also some product and project advisory on the field of transport and mobility, more target to sustainability. Uh, since today I will be talking for at least 1 hour and something, so I am basically open that you interrupt and just ask the questions that you have whenever I am talking, or if you have anything to be clarified. So it would be also good. Also, if you have a point to make. Yes, today's agenda is first going towards the innovation and mainstream. What is this difference? What are the opportunities and stakeholders? So relations among the stakeholders on transport. I guess you are already on the third semester of the master, so you are more than familiar with the topic. Then we're gonna go towards the cooperative and connected and automated mobility. So what does it mean for the framework of transportation? What are those agentic planning tools that are on the market or are able for us as a planners or as a transport experts? And also some of the expected skills from this new situation of technology and tools that are available. Then we go to review some opportunities and what goes beyond this AI mainstream. At the end, the idea is that we participate, everyone, in a small discussion about what are our unpopular opinions on AI and sustainable development. So yeah, I hope you will enjoy that. First, I want to ask if someone is using LLMs and if someone has experience with LLMs, meaning ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, like, and if you have experience working professionally with it.
I think it's all integrated into our work processes. I would say, right? Yeah.
Okay. And also with simulation, I don't know what is your background. So simulation softwares for transport engineering or for mechanical engineering, if there is any background on it.
I think we have like some really experience during our tours, like everything was in electric and had a tram simulation.
Okay.
So that had a walkie.
Okay.
And
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then first I go with this slide on recognizing the differences between innovation and what is a innovative technology, but also what are the difference on mainstream technologies. And today we are talking a lot about different topics that are rising on the scene, and some are, of course, the artificial intelligence. But I present this difference on understanding that innovation is sort of a gear system where you start from a problem, and from this problem you start to look different solutions. And towards those different solutions that you are looking towards the solution of a problem, you start to find new ideas. And those new ideas, you start to check and look again if those are pioneer ideas or are novel ideas or not. And then you start to see, okay, this is sort of innovative or not innovative. Sort of, I am repeating someone else, or someone did already think about that work. But the idea is that the innovation turns into a mass adoption. And this mass adoption goes to this perhaps mainstream, what I call it mainstream, and is the adoption of the topic or the technology, but also how resourceful is the technology. And then the resourceful, you see it as, okay, is something that I can apply, or is something that do make sense onwards potentializing the aspects of developing beyond the sector, so beyond the transport sector or beyond the medicine or biotechnology sector. And then we go to the more fine is the technology, then we look for accessibility. And accessibility is a topic or a word I will mention a lot today, because access to a technology or access to a source become important when you start to plan any project or any new or novel idea. In that sense, I choose to explain this with the mobility hubs. We can take the mobility hubs as our moonshot, as our center of first learning what are the stakeholders, what goes in parallel to the development of a mobility hub, and how we can integrate different technologies. And when I refer to technology, I'm not referring to a digital or electronic device, but also a methodology that is created by a human. So method to research is already a technology to get some new ideas, new inputs, or to understand how people behave. So those are methods and enablers of other technologies. So when I go to the mobility hub, I start to see there are businesses. So one hub is in the hub I can integrate some business, and in the business I can start to talk about what are those products that I can integrate, talking about transportation products like a train or a bus, but also little stores or magazine stores or packet shops. And we start to talk about industries among these hubs. What are those industries in the behind of these hubs? These hubs. How we enable open innovation, what services are around, and how we can scale. Another part is the services. So what services integrated there? So who make part of it? Small and medium enterprises, how I administrate the public space, who is the responsible or carrying the fares on the public transport and the access or ticketing, if it is a space for urban freight, so there is those last mile connections, and are those opportunities for individual mobilities. So last mile and integrating not only passenger, but then talking about multiple services. We go to who manage, and then is who create processes, who create protocols, who administrate the resources that we are talking and we are taking to the construction or taking to the administration of the hub. We also talk about, if we are thinking about the natural resources, how we distribute the information, and also applications. So what applications are embedded on the hub. So if we are talking about circular economies that are embedded on the hub, and how we reuse certain materials, but how also we reuse certain methodologies that were applied in different parts of the city. If we are taking care of the people that live there or nearby, living and housing, also because when we are setting a hub, then we are thinking not only on specific uses, we are talking about multiple uses. So in a cluster of universities, or a cluster of companies, or a cluster of housing. And I bring this because I want to set clear what are the stakeholders and how I will talk, or I'm talking about transportation and mobility in the following slides. So when I'm referring to stakeholders in transportation or mobility, I'm referring to all these players that you can see here. And that's now really important, because we are talking, as we are advancing on the data information and data input that we can get, we can apply multiple analysis to all these stakeholders. So that's that I wanted to make it clear. One good example that we have here, and the different examples that I will explain are part of my experience or some work that I have done, or I have taken part with other colleagues, of course. And one of these happened here in Berlin, this BINTELI project. And that was a project for use AI for autonomous mobility. And the objective of the project was using digital tools, how to exploit and how to power the capacity of the city, of the city of Berlin, to control and to manage autonomous vehicles in different fleets or different type of vehicles of autonomous driving, while integrating infrastructure, but also while integrating other parties that are forming part of the consortium. So in this consortium, it was led by the Institute of the TU Berlin, but companies from Germany take part, and those companies from Germany that took part was, of course, vehicles manufacturers, or the OEMs, some insurance companies to ensure and learn how to administrate the vehicles, but also infrastructure, and all different parties and stakeholders that we needed to involve or integrate to really potentialize the capacity of the work that we were doing. Yeah, I don't know if any question, any. So on this previous frame, where everything was based on the infrastructure, the community developing the project, also the project financed by the German Minister of Transportation, part of the European Union, start to scale those to another topic. So now we need to learn or understand that the integration of multiple stakeholders is important. So we move on to this cooperative, connected, and automated mobility frameworks. And those frameworks become more complex if you want to look at from the big picture if we use those terms. So if we start to look who are the stakeholders or the partners related there, then we start to see that we have some telecommunication providers that we need to the communication to the administration. We have, of course, the charging and the depot and facilities. So those are other stakeholders paying part of the service. Then we have users like the passengers, but also the managers of depots, the current drivers, if we don't have yet automated vehicles, and then other public services. And those public services are part of those smart cities networks, such as screens, information systems like maps or signaling systems, and virtual or physical signaling systems. And at the end, we also were integrate the different types of vehicles. On those integrations, then we become to a next layer, and the next layer are these on perhaps the language that we talk. So all these stakeholders manage their own language, and we need to start to unify all of them in a common layer. And this common layer is those data translators or data interfaces. So I start to talk about public transport having open data sources and publishing to all the European Union in this case, or to all the cloud when we are talking about Google products, that we can make use also of the AI and machine learning tools to do a rapid association and administration of the data, that there are some regulations or needs also to how to storage and to administrate the data. For example, for 1 day of operation of taking data in the BINTELI project, we were talking about 10 terabytes of data for 1 or 2 hours. So that doesn't make sense to storage and have 10 terabytes of data for a long run. So you need to optimize those systems and understand what data is necessary and what data is not necessary. At the next, we start to see that we land to a so broad system that we are able to have this everything to everything communications. So you already know those vehicle to grid or grid to vehicle communications, where any of the actors on the system are inputting data, but also getting data from the whole system or the whole infrastructure. And then you as a user, you are inputting your data as I'm going from A to B, and the public authority is giving you data if the train or bus is working or not working, or if the Uber is available, or if the taxi or scooter is available for you. Those exchanges happen here in the back end. And for that, there is these two risks or last two points where we start to see that there is a need of a common ground, but also who police and who do the administration of this information. And then we have national regulations or regional regulations. And those national or regular regulations are part of this, what the policymaker needs to understand or needs to do while approving or while going towards the acceptance of the technology. And on the other hand, we have also the cyber attack risk. As everything goes digital, then the risk of being attacked by hackers increase. And those governance needs to be discussed in a certain common level if we really agree or understand that the technology is important, but we also need to understand that the risk will arrive. So in that sense, we see that a cooperative, connected, and automated mobility is the correspondence between all these technologies or systems interact and needs to interact together, from the telecommunications to the GPS and localization to the communication system between the parties, services for the users, and also services outside of the infrastructure, of the road and the walk paths. So all those explain it or talk to make reference on what those agentic planning tool is or make. So it is important because after acknowledging what are the stakeholders and what are the technologies behind, then we need to understand that a system needs to be robust or built robust enough for a agentic system. So, yep.
What is synthetic realities? Is it
It's a scenario.
scenario?
Yeah. So we start to talk about this planning with synthetic populations, and is building synthetic populations. So
Is it forecasting the future population?
yes.
Oh.
So the issue is that now we already understand these terms, and these terms have been there since 70 years ago. This is basically not novelty. What is novel is the speed and the capacity that we have now to do prognosis and do different models and more near models to certain realities. So synthetic populations, now we can build those scenarios or transport models or city models in a faster speed, and that should be an enabler for better public administration or an enabler for better marketing. Depends how you use it, no? We have these synthetic realities. So these synthetic realities are this scenario building. So now the scenarios that we build are more near or nearer to the reality, because we are analyzing behaviors, and then we can start to talk about these predictive systems. And what are predictive systems? So when we are using predictive systems, we can talk about digital twins, but the digital twins are technologies from the 950s that was used in manufacturing, but in city, how we adapt these predictive systems. Because now the situations that we have are expected, in the humans, or we as a user, we are expecting solutions for now, not for tomorrow, because of the speed as we are living on the city.
But we can never predict it.
How we can predict it?
No, we can never.
How we can predict it?
No, we can never do it.
Yeah,
Like,
this is basically the randomness of the system. That there is still a certain randomness by building the model, but you can start to predict that in the macro level, every citizen in the area of Schoneberg is going to purchase online, and it's going to receive one package per building, at least every day. So you start to optimize the last mile of logistics for the area. So you certainly start to tailor or manage this behavior. And then you start to charge or discharge to accommodate the behavior as is the better for the city, or the better situation for according the hour of the city, for an example. So then you can predict better how people is going to behave. And we talk about these tailored tools, and these tailored tools are those systems that we are building for our cities or for our job situation. So the more that we are advancing on agentic solutions, the more tailored tools we are building. One example that I find during the letter, it was this Matsim. I don't know if you have worked with Matsim here in some of the classes, but you can take one of these lecture in the TU Berlin, and it's free. It's online, and it's how to use agents for forecast transport activities and do somehow macro simulations. But that goes beyond. What is an agent? An agent for me is a point. I don't know if you agree, or if you have another description for an agent. That's because you did the face. So yeah, I was saying that an agent for me is a point. Basically a point that you can aggregate many variables as you want. And this point that you aggregate many variables can start to read or move or understand the environment. So if I'm talking about an agent for transport, I start to give this point inputs about how this point is going to move, because it has certain characteristics, and these characteristics are those variables that I call are it has certain budget, it like to go by car, it like to go fast, it moves between A, B, or C. So it has different. I can give to this point different objectives. It has a capacity, if I build it like this, to understand a space. So if I give him a geographic system, so it can move between links and between the links and the nodes. So this,
It's like a simulation tool
yes,
that combines a lot of variables and makes some forecasts.
yes.
It was like a role in the desktop. The role. Really want to use the guys.
The digital twin.
Yeah, digital twin. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it something like that?
Is something like that. The point is that to understand what is the behind of the digital twin and how the digital twin had different or can be built in different ways. Because digital twin is for right now decision taking or for forecasting. So in this case, I have this digital twin who is moving in the network or is moving in the city with my inputs or the inputs that I aggregate. And to this point, because I can give him a different equation, or yes, I can give him a different variable to move, so it can move because I give him a plan how to move, but I can say to him there are some links that have different costs and there are nodes that have different purposes. So you basically decide where to go according to this maximization equation that I give you, and start to see how to save time or how to save money or how to save resources while moving or while reaching each of the points. Or it can act as a hybrid. It goes from A to B, but it shows different paths.
I'm really, really confused. Is it like simulation tool for the future forecast, or it's something like a Google Map that shows to go into the road, and if there's some car road accident, for you to go there, take the another way or something? Why it's called agents, not like simulation tool?
Because the simulation tool is built based on agents.
By agents.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So when we are talking about simulations, we are talking about agents that do different activities that we give to them.
Then Google Map also can be the part of this agent.
So
Yeah.
there are already, if you go to Google Developer, if you Google Development or Google for Transportation, they already are working on their own simulation system based on Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's predicted. So that was a example landed to the transportation or the mobility situation. But then when you listen about the agent is what we say. The agent can relate different variables to do a specific activity. In this case, I explained it in transportation and with geographic systems, but it can be in the manufacture process or in other process that you might relate. And then we go a step further, like for the today LLM, a large language model concept, which is the integration of agents. And I present here this, I take this graph from this paper, and in the paper they built a LLM or a large language model where you can basically build your own transport model by mixing different sources of information, open information in this case. So it is important to build that you have the knowledge of the background. So for build that, you need to understand that there are some network, and this network is, yes, the Google Map, or in this case, the OpenStreetMap, which is more flexible when you want to open it, or when you want to use open data, but you also need to collect some data from surveys or from different data access points. And as one part, you have networks, and in the other part, you have different methods to correlate the information. So if you want to see how people move from A to B, but what are those capacities from the train or the vehicle to move from A to B? So how you carry and how is the capacity and the demand offer. And those alignments or methodologies, you have it in the bucket, and then you use, or in this case, they use the model from Meta to give the inputs to understand what the user wants, and while classifying the information or the input from the user, they use this simulation tool. This is urban mobility or urban. This is a simulation urban mobility tool for micro simulations on the city, and it gives you an output. So basically here they say, okay, I want to simulate simulation in Albany 3 showed in traffic, and I should show the street. Okay. So I want to build a simulation of a road where I start to play with the capacity of the road. If I aggregate, if I eliminate a lane, how the traffic will behave. Mobility, I don't think so there is something there, because we can do that already with other simulation softwares, but the speed, how we can do it, is perhaps the highlight of it, right? Then, what are the skills from a agentic solution, or what we are expecting from an agentic solution? So I elaborate. Everything what I elaborate, it was like a lot of buzzwords, a lot of trying to explain what is an agent, what is a simulation software, what is basically the behind of any artificial intelligence model, because when we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about machine learning and data sources, is that. But what we expect from the agentic solution, so is we want, or there is a common ground that we should have local deployments. In these local deployments is, if I am a university, I want to have my own artificial or my own model. If I am a computer engineer, or if I'm a traffic engineer, I want a computer where I can carry my model and my foundations, because I have some knowledge that I want to keep. So there are some technologies to that, like you use Docker or Kubernetes. Those are database administrators. That it should be an easy expansion, so that you can use and exchange with your community meaning your co-workers, but also your students, or also your colleagues. And also outside, like you travel and you see, look, this is what I have and this is the roadblocks, how we can change and how we can improve our work towards. Data sovereignty. This is one of the key points right now for everyone trying to develop their own the model, and is running upon the open source, but at the same time having the security or the safety of the system. Like I have ownership of what is happening behind. And the connection between agentic AI. So I have a lot of knowledge, I need a lot of knowledge to also understand what I'm giving to the agent if I am working with agents. I cannot work with agents if I don't know what are the outcomes and what I need to expect from them. So if you see this mobility data source, this is a foundational model for transportation. If you build it in a foundation model, and the system or the agent, it has to be operated by really, it has to be easy to use, and it has to solve an issue. It cannot be a AI just because it's an AI, or an LLM because it's an LLM. It has to answer you for something. Otherwise, we're gonna see what is happening now. Now we overcalculate the capacity of AI, and we don't need all those energy systems, or we don't need all those data centers. But now we need to rehire people. So you need to really understand and tailor the solution. And as is expected also, the development has to be continuous. So it has to be able to be open to continuously increasing the technology, increasing also the solution that I can provide. At the end, what are the opportunities that we identify? So the agents are able to collaborate, or needs to collaborate, and are able to foster new skills for us. Or we can also over-skill our capacities when working in a certain topic. If we are talking about improving the workforce and efficiency, we can restructure and think projects in another level. So we can manage better the resources that we use for the execution of the kickoff of the project. And since 10 years ago, we are talking about multidisciplinarity projects. Now is even more crucial that we have multidisciplinarity among the projects that we develop. Now I can talk about developing a single vehicle without talking about software-defined vehicles. And now talking about software-defined planes, because Airbus is also doing that. So it's impossible to talk, now it's not normal not to talk like that. Then it also helps us to streamline the development or the workflows. That means that we can loop all work easily. So we already have some capacity learned in previous work, so we can retake those experiences and recall those experiences and see how we can administrate for new kickoffs. Optimizing and supporting the long term of the projects and the activities. And we also use them as a catalyzers for design new developments. And that means that now with the capacity of technology, I can start to use data in a more robust manner, meaning that the data table that I have or that I see, now I can integrate it, or I don't need to have a structured data, but I can have unstructured data. And that means that I can build some relations from different sources and create innovations or novel actions that couldn't occur if I just see or if I'm just able to analyze data structured. So this unstructured analysis become more normal on the planet. Before going to the next point, I don't know if you guys have some question. So. So all these technologies approaches and all these agentic or topics, for me personally, becoming what is beyond this AI mainstream. And for me, the first point is that when we start to talk about what comes next, accessibility is one point that we still need to reach, and how to reach accessibility become important in how we open spaces for interaction and for better explainability of our technology, how we can understand better what we are doing with the technology, but also who have access to the technology. If only we in the university have access, or also the common, the people on the street also have access, and how they manage this information. So it has to be grounded everywhere. And it becomes, again, the accessibility point of, I build transport systems that are accessible, so I also build information systems that are accessible. So this narrative has to be clear. And how, when we start to talk about open innovation, how we create simple systems where the developers, but also the public, are part of it, to tailor or to receive the information, or to receive the input that someone is working for their needs. So there is some open innovations, and those open innovations are to work on the profitability, or to work on the profitability of making some environment variables more accessible to everyone, or are we working on the profitability of making the company itself more profitable on the market? So it's like this relation of for whom are we working with this open innovation, and that the community-based development needs to be there when we start to talk on those innovations. The creation of just environments, and this creation of just environments is creating common grounds and how we perceive and how we distribute information, and how we also talk about natural resources. And then we start to talk about resilient infrastructures. So if you are developing, or if you are going to adopt a technology in the city or in your home, you want to have a robust system. So if you are automatizing all your lights at home, and one day you don't have internet, so basically you cannot turn on and turn off your lights. And it can happen with the city. I showed you at the beginning the mobility hubs, and then I showed you all these cooperative connected systems that are strongly energy and technological hungry. But what happened if we had a blackout? Then there is a need for resilience infrastructures. And how we build resilient infrastructures when we have heat waves. And the heat waves become more often and often. So that's important also to understand when we talk about this open innovation, like, okay, maybe batteries, but how are going to react the batteries? How we scale up the projects. So now the trend is not to pilot projects, but to scale up so a project that has been proven. So government is trying not to, is driving sources not for testing and piloting, but go hands-on in community, take actions on the project. So how we involve different stakeholders and how the stakeholders that can bring different backgrounds and resources can scale a solution. And one point that is not the least is how diverse is the system that we are building and how diverse is the community that we are building. Diverse in terms that we need stakeholders from all the backgrounds. Here we are in a room that all of us are international, and we have rooms and we need spaces with those diverse diversification of the thought, of the understanding is there. If it's not there, then we can land in continuous issues that we are looking at today. This is my point on beyond the AI mainstream. This is already 1 hour that I have been talking, more or less. I don't know if you guys want to take some break or you want some questions. You have questions before we go to the next talk, which I hope we can all discuss together. So if you are okay, you can take 5 minutes and.
Okay.
¿Tú no quieres tomar algo?
No, estoy tomando agua.
¿Sí? ¿Café? ¿No?
Está bien.
Ok.
I collaborate with you. But still, it was very cool. And not only that question, I also imagine the whole like integrating how we're gonna participate, you know, like due diligence. But collaborate. But now that we work with them more, my boss is like
Dijiste 5 minutos. Ya está calculado. Se grabó 5 minutos. It was like we said 5 minutes. So once you're ready, you go.
Okay, so if you can access to the Menti, and we can.
Here it says you use words. Okay. Did you start using this here or in Colombia?
What, Menti? It was here, yeah.
It was here?
Because it's like 5 years old. It was in Corona then, no? 6 years.
So I had a Colombian coworker and he really liked it. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, then the idea of this is that we're gonna exchange different unpopular opinions. At the work, I ask to different of my colleagues what do they think or what are their unpopular opinions on the different topics I will present. So methodology is basic. We're gonna give our opinions. We're gonna have a small debate, or we can defend our position of one of the position of the points, and we can discuss or give some ideas how to solve or what could be potential solutions about those opinions or those problems that we highlight from the opinions that we are giving out. So first is the AI improved energy transitions. I think you can see already on your devices. So yeah, please just start to type. Here are some of the experiences that I have. So for example, one opinion was that with the AI, we will accelerate the speed to reach to the moon. So we will find the source to infinite resources of rare materials. So basically, we don't need to worry about improving energy transitions here and there. I want to listen, but also if you can write or type down if you are so shy to.
Our opinion, are we agree or not agree on that?
No. Later we discuss if we agree or disagree.
No, exactly this. I improve energy transition.
No, you write a new position on that. You think about another position on it.
I see that again.
You are in the Menti, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is that you write a opinion, your unpopular opinion on AI and energy transition. What is your thing? What is your position on it? Either you write or you share it.
Charging would be considered energy transition, right?
Charging?
Yes. What would it be like?
should be on this topic, AI and then energy transition.
Yes. I think I don't know if someone else is writing something or have some point on that, but is everyone done?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can. Okay, are we close? Oh, okay. I
We can vote only one.
think you can vote
Ah.
for multiple.
Okay.
Yes, you can vote for multiple.
You have 16 or 17? 17? Cross country. And then this music.
Okay, then maybe we can discuss on these two points, two opinions. And the first is this: okay, the energy transitions will speed up, but the energy that AI demands also will increase. So AI companies will be the new energy controllers. Who wrote that down? Yep.
So, if you look at history and petroleum energy or oil, for that reason, it was majorly driven by automobiles and the demand for oil. Now, the demand for AI is so much that it has a lot of applications.
Mhm.
To look at energy specifically, it can also speed up the process and the entire energy landscape has to data and maybe trying to figure out new design of energy transitions and how we can better use and produce more energy. But that also will require a lot of AI. So AI companies know how much energy they are using, so they will in turn be the first customer or the most prioritized customer to these energy companies. Energy companies will be more dependent on AI companies because that will be their main source of revenue. And I think these two will somehow combine, these two businesses will combine and try to figure out new processes. But in turn, AI companies will have a lot more control over energy companies because they are the highest paying consumer.
And do you think there is a solution? Anyone think, or you also have a solution?
I also had almost the same idea, but I couldn't. At the end, who will pay for the energy is the user. So the price for the energy will increase a lot. Like the price for energy will increase. So the simple citizens should pay. So after maybe 100 years, maybe 50 years, like energy becomes something very expensive, like different, starting from the house lights.
I believe governments also will be racing to getting models. They want to maybe justify policies that can favor these energy and AI companies. And they also want a piece of that cake. So, and in the end, it will be the user who will be paying a lot more, and maybe AI companies will not be paying so much towards energy consumption, but they will also be charged or tasked with finding better solutions to reduce energy consumption for them.
It becomes this question about for whom are we building the energy, or who are going to use the energy, and for what. And I think it's a good point that you both mentioned about the user and how user is so in the matrix of energy, And so you mentioned as a potential solution, government being involved. Who else, or how we can perhaps delay or perhaps improve the situation?
There is no backbone. We cannot do it.
This will require a lot of investment and funds and a lot more research. And I think currently only AI companies can do it.
And what about the AI could soon out-consume international for electricity, and tech giants are racing to lock up clean power first. Who wrote that one? Let's see So, no one.
AI solved this.
Nations.
Okay, it was the AI behind perhaps. Uh, yeah, any point, any opinion on that? Any take?
It's true, it's not an unpopular opinion.
And also, I mean, I brought this unpopular because what is for me unpopular for you can be popular, and what is popular for you for me can be unpopular. So it's really broad the situation on it is or it is not. We can go to the next.
I'm seeing so much work, especially to the harm of the population. What about I wrote the first one, AI and energy transition are not correlated first, because recently Russia cut the energy transition like from Kazakhstan to Germany, and no one could do nothing, and Kazakhstan had to search for another solution to provide all of the stuff starting from oil energy to the Germany through the Middle East. It takes it's expensive and long and it's hard. Yeah. So another search party just cut it. It was like a Jewish boy. They called the way. And they blocked it, and Kazakhstan and Germany couldn't do anything. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
how
mean-
AI can help in this case?
And that's sort of those points that the giving the AI that you have to solve everything is not the practical way to go.
Yeah.
It's basically might be the conclusion somehow. Also because energy problems are bigger than the AI problem. You will see in a scale of problems that we have in this generation. AI is a tool and become a tool. So there is of course a point. The correlation between them is not that huge as we are reading on it. And also this is why you start to mention the users are going to be part of the discussion of energy and how governments will influence. And then the question of the energy for who. So yeah. Any takers? Any take? Next one is about AI self-used and AI self-used and human-centered development. I don't know if you have questions about what is just and human-centered development or what is justice. Or, yeah. But I will prefer that you just write and throw some of your ideas because this wording means for everyone different. Or it's different meaning for certain groups of persons. This is again from some colleagues. So yeah. Someone is still writing.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can go to vote, right? Yep. Okay, so who wrote the AI can replace or reproduce human feelings and sensations? Thus, it's not a good replacement for citizen engagement. Good.
On self-explanatory, and I think that unless you train a model to be exactly like a human, and even though, yeah, I don't think you'll ever be able to replace human, sensations or perceptions. And so it will never really, come to, oh. So essentially, I think that we will always need to have people involved, and that robots will not be able to replace that. Because there's people in a group, there's people in a family, there's people in society. So a person is not just a person. And yeah, I think AI will be able to replace that.
Any
That's just
take
my
on any take on also complementing?
I don't think we'll be replacing humans in this matter, but we trained so well in a few years that it might match what a human might do, because there's a process to everything, and if there's a problem to solve or if there is a situation, there is a process to solve it, and AI works in processes. So you train it along that same line, and it might just be 95% as good as a human. It might be useful to help in the process, but for a complete paperwork or decision making, human might still be required.
So apart from this decision making, is there also a take like on AI becoming your next psychology or your next
And
doctor?
it has already become,
But
it's not right.
and
Why?
It just gives a response to make you feel better.
You can train them otherwise.
You can really why do you need a psychologist?
You were the one saying it's not right.
I'm not using
Okay.
but the issue there is what we were discussing in the background was also the issue of who had the information to it. Because at least we have some background and some education. But when you are a citizen that doesn't have access and education, then you go for the first and fast solution. So that's somehow a risk, right? So I sort of I didn't say it before, but yeah, it's an important point. Who how to solve or who have an idea how to solve those gaps of information of education? Since you mentioned this, yeah, we never replace, but it might be a support in different communities. Do you think that fair in having AI as support in those communities?
I think it's a bit inevitable.
Okay. Um, AI solves critical problems but destroys human thinking, thereby emotions and human touch by vanishing. Yeah.
So I think AI as a tool helps us to solve the issues which we take months to solve and it can be solved in days with AI. But when coming to the human-centered development, like we started to use AI to replace all the like email drafts or whatever the messages to send. Everything is now, we started to rephrase it with AI, and that way our touch is missing out there. So in future, I feel authors, artists will be decreasing. Like not everybody will be too interested in those domains. So that the basic human touch in phrases will be reduced, I guess, unless if it is not trained in such a way.
What do you mean by emotions?
Like when you type something and give it to AI, the emotion is not conveyed in the same way. It rephrases it according to how it is trained.
Then I would say emotions. We have to find another word to describe this. Because emotions, something you feel. Yeah, but emotions never disappear. Or maybe people are being less empathic, but
No, emotion in the sense the emotion which is conveyed in the sentence or
you can put smiles or emojis.
yeah, emojis are written of the emotions which our parents were having before. So you just send an emoji and then the words are shortened. But then now emojis are replaced with something else. So not the emotion in the sense we talk with each other, the emotions which we convey as a text.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of, I get the point. I get the point, but it is also this emotions while typing, not while typing, but while communicating. And also this feeling of when you are reading, you feel some emotion, and when you are writing, you are typing some emotion. But how you type it in your emotion, I receive it in another circumstance. So emotionally was different. But when distributing the communication, then yeah, becomes more and more irrelevant. If we have an AI who is writing the messages and also reading the messages that I'm receiving, if that's the point that you want to make. So basically, AI are handling all communications. Yes.
I have a counter to that. He said AI solves difficult problems, but destroys human thinking. I think AI is a tool. Even if you look at history, uh, for example, language it was created to think critically, but also to solve problems. Now AI is doing that. So the next step is to use AI to solve better and bigger problems.
So what I feel is like AI solves all problems, but it cannot think as a human.
It cannot.
So it can solve the problems with the data which is fed to it. So when you give certain data, it can just read it. It can think with the data, but we can think beyond the data as well.
True. So that will something that will encourage people to think better in a different way to
But-
read AI.
But after AI, people started to think less. Is what I feel.
No, but who are the people who develop these?
We can. Sorry, no, but we can go to the. I don't know if you have a point. So we don't have it. Yes.
Oh, no, I was just adding some.
No, human speak about emotion.
Then we go perhaps the last point, and is AI is important to enhance equity and accessibility in communities. Can we go?
Not all humans are built to be walls. It's still. Your example. Not all humans are built to be walls.
Next is typing. You cannot vote. Someone is voting, still reading. Oh. So, okay, then AI does not automatically create equity or accessibility. It often strengthens the inequalities that already exist. Who wrote that?
I read it, but I asked ChatGPT to write down popular opinion about this topic. He gave me to that.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, but I agree, maybe.
Okay. Does anyone have a take on that?
It's like a globalization. We think globalization is very good, but rich people become rich and poor people become more poor. It's the same thing. Maybe somehow it solves some small parts, but still exists some
think
inequality
that-
gaps, or it makes new inequalities.
Mhm. That match with the one below, what does equity even mean?
Yeah.
It certainly opens up knowledge base to a wider community, but probably gonna benefits the people that were already privileged before. Who wrote that one?
Which one?
This one.
I wrote that, yeah.
Okay. And what does it mean, equity for you?
I don't know, I found the statement a bit too broad. That's why, because I mean, when we talk of equity, fairness, equality, those are also interchangeable terms, as well as accessibility. And we talk of accessibility in communities. Do we talk in cities? Do we talk villages? Do we talk different cultures? So the statement can go into so many directions. That's why I would say that AI can, of course, give a knowledge base to people. If we say in these communities that were anyways already able to access certain technology tools, so it's certainly only this extent that options, if I understand it in this way now. But maybe in regions on the planet where this technology was not given anyways before, some digital tools, AI is not really helping so well, but of course can by I don't know, external stakeholders be introduced and then analyze somehow faster the water structure or important resource flow to calculate it for something. So in that sense, it can of course help to improve processes. But yeah, the statement is so broad that it can go into so many directions how you interpret it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that was the
Yeah.
idea. But indeed, that's also talking about the narratives and how we distribute a narrative when we approach a community, which is really important. Last, AI has immense potential to level the playing field by personalizing its accessibility and scaling community resources. However, the tech is only as equitable as the data behind it. Cool. Yeah.
I suppose I also put AI to answer it.
Okay.
Giving the tendency options like
Which you use
Gemini.
Gemini. Okay.
It was confusing because like only if you have the data with you, so then you can find out like to which communities should be accessible or should be following up for the equity.
Okay. And the last one, if standards are clear, AI will overcome the biases and establish a method which includes measures towards increasing equity and accessibility. Which method?
So I was thinking, for instance, when it comes to urban planning, you should have like 10% accessible sidewalks or accessible pedestrian crossings. So that would by itself establish like a medium standard that would enforce some accessibility measures. But as for equity, not thinking a bit deeper on that, thanks to Nicholas. It is indeed hard to establish what it is an exceptional an acceptable standard for equity, because equity can mean different things in different geographies,
Yes.
ecosystems. But yeah, I saw AI as a method to overcome biases, because you might think, oh, this is so good because I'm doing this, but then you're not really establishing a standard.
I will not go to the last one because it's already, you're gonna have a next class and you have been here a lot of time. So yeah, big conclusion for me of today is AI is only a tool. I hope you have enjoyed the 2 hours, so at least you have learned or listened something new that you haven't listened before. If you have listened that before, then sorry for that. But yeah, thank you so much, and you are welcome to reach to me at you are welcome to reach. I might share if you want the references. I can share with you the references of whatever I shared here today. And yeah, this. Thank you so much.
What I think, there was last year, I think last year, the one country implemented AI as like a minister or something in the government. Yeah. What do you think about that? Is it a good or not?
For me, that was a really early approach and really interesting, and that was attached what you could say about how we can integrate AI in different levels of society. So they use the AI minister to improve participation, and that was to improve community participation and give the people the tools to use technology. So that was the aim of introducing this minister. And when I was preparing this presentation, I was talking with different persons on backgrounds and about the communities. One of my colleagues talked about, some people sometimes they need more technology than we think, because he lived in Spandau where there are a lot of elder people, and they asked to him to take photos to communicate with the administration of the building or the administration of the room to send messages or emails. So again, this accessibility and community is really different on how we apply the technology, or how we welcome the technology in different stakeholders of groups of interest.
But it's expensive. Some big companies who use AI, like implemented AI in the work process, they're canceling it, like implementing AI because it's expensive than the human force.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to know how and why are you going to use it. If you are just using it because it's a hype, then it doesn't make any sense that you are using that. There was also some references on the equity and who pay for the better AI. So of course have the better outcome. So that also increases a gap. So if you are able to pay a model, then you have perhaps better information. If you are not able to pay a model, then you have less information. And then you start to create these gaps among people applying to jobs or people working on different areas. Sorry?
You have a company called Tashi?
Tashi is an idea, and it's just we participate with that in hackathons, and we try to create some data spaces and data analysis with that.
So it turns out in the future, the full access to the AI, it can be there some, the factor of the wells, because it's expensive, maybe after 50 years.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, I mean, like maybe after like 50 years, the full access to the AI, it can be there like as a wealth of the companies, I don't know, the company.
Yeah.
Rich people can have full access to AI. Or maybe, I don't know. Like,
It's
like
a
scenario.
tool. The AI is, if we say AI is basically a tool, and perhaps in 50 years or 10 years it will evolve to another name, but AI will be embedded.
Yeah.
There was an example that we don't use when we are talking about a project. We don't say, I'm gonna use energy to power my computer while working on your project. So why you are going to say that I'm using AI to work on your project?
Yeah.
If you are working on a data project, perhaps I will scare if you are not using AI models to work in my data project. So it's what I wanted to bring today was this: AI is a tool basically, and we should not be scared about how people should not be scared, but accepting about how it's implemented. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.